And welcome everyone. Mark Margolius for the Institute for Jewish Spirituality. Shavua Tov. Hope you had a wonderful Shabbat and weekend, and it's great to be together for a full week of Jewish mindfulness meditation practice. We meet at this time every day live. It's really wonderful to do this with the support of a community of practice. So if you're joining us live today, thanks for being here. We're grateful for your presence. It makes a difference to do this together, even though we may be physically separate. We're all in this practice together. We're all supporting each other. We're all setting aside this time. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for helping to create this community of practice. We've been offering these sits for well over 3 years now. We're happy to do so at IJS without charge. Drop in anytime, make use of the practice. They're all live streamed as well on our YouTube channel, and all the recordings are posted there in case you can't join us live. So take note of that. And of course, we can do this because of your support for our work. First of all, as I mentioned, just being here, thank you for that. And thanks for your financial support, which we're grateful for in any amount. If you're in a position to offer a gift of $180 or more, you could sponsor one of these meditations. Wonderful way to mark an occasion in your life, whether it's a yard site, a birthday, an anniversary, really any reason at all, or to honor a friend. Thanks for considering that if you're in a position to do so. A couple of quick announcements, and then we will turn to our practice for today. One is that Wednesday night will be the last in our what has been really an amazing series of workshops curated and hosted by Rebecca Schisler, Igniting Your Creative Spark. Wednesday night is this Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern is our final session. It's entitled Grief to Praise, the Transformative Power of Song, with Kohenet Hebrew priestess Alana Brody, who will be sharing the creative process of creating a song as a spiritual practice and inviting the participants into the practice themselves. So you can still sign up for that. Each session is available on an individual basis. So thanks for considering that. And then just looking ahead to this week, we have really wonderful teachers every day on our mindfulness set, and we hope you'll join us for any or all of them, including today. Will be led by Yael Shy, wonderful mindfulness coach and meditation teacher. Yael has led us many times, and of course has done a lot of teaching for IJS, and as well has written just a beautiful weekly mindfulness-based guide to practice based on the weekly Torah portion, which many of you have subscribed to or read or subscribed to through our friends and partners at One Table, which I highly recommend. It's available through IJS. And we're deeply grateful to Yael for leading us in practice today. We'll put the link, just a note that I'm sure Yael is known to most, if not all of everyone who's here today, that the Yael, in addition to teaching wonderful classes, is also available as both a coach and an individual meditation teacher. And so thanks to Jet Bachman, who's holding our tech space today, for sharing the link to Yael's website for those who might be interested in being in touch with her to learn and practice with her. Okay, enough from me. Thanks so much, Yael, for leading us in practice today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's always such a joy to be with this community. It's a kind of a special joy this week because it's one of my favorite parshas that we're embarking on now, which is the parsha where we get into Balak, Parsha Balak. And Balak in this Torah portion is the king who is an enemy of the Israelites and hires a prophet named Balaam to go and curse the Israelites. And there's so many fascinating pieces, but one of the one I want us to focus on for our sit today is that so Balaam, the prophet, is very clear the whole way through, like, I can try to curse them, but ultimately it's what God puts in my mouth. That's what I got. Like, if I can try, I'm going to give it a shot. So by the time he gets there to curse the Israelites, he's kind of Balak, the king, takes him to three different locations where he can kind of see parts and pieces of the Israelite camps. First time he gets there, he tries to do the curse, and out comes a blessing. So the king, Balak, not happy, takes him to the second spot. Same thing happens. He's attempting to get ready to curse, and out he gives a blessing. And so finally, the king, Balak, brings him to the third spot, and he says, like, fine, don't even curse him, but just don't give a blessing. I'm settling for silence here. And still, this last blessing he gives is this beautiful blessing that we use in our liturgy every morning. And that is the Ma Tovu. That's the beginning of the blessing. So you might be familiar with it. Jet, maybe you can put it into the chat. It is translated, so in Hebrew, Ma Tovu Ohale HaYakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael. And the translation here, goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. And it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition there. So the good covers it all. Tov, it's all Tov. The tents of Jacob, and if you remember in the Torah, Jacob's sort of the before, and Israel is the after. Before he kind of gets that extra spiritual maturation, he's Jacob, and then it becomes Israel. And the tent, simple, the dwelling place, the Mishkan, Mishkenotecha, sacred. It's like magical, sacred dwelling place. So it's a kind of a fascinating blessing because Balaam is saying via God, like, it's all good. It's all beautiful. In the language of Dick Schwartz and, internal family systems, no bad parts. All of it is a blessing. How good are your tents? This, kind of part of yourself, let's say, that you think you'd kind of rather do without. Maybe you hate this part of yourself. Maybe you just kind of like tolerate it, but don't enjoy it. As well as like your more spiritual, the parts of yourself you love, the parts of yourself you think of as more developed. There is no differentiation in this blessing between the one and the other. And it's mirroring what Balaam is doing in this thing. Like, he's going there to curse, and it's coming out a blessing. And so the theme I want us to hold for this sit is like, where in yourself do you kind of discount the part of yourself, or actively hate, or are mean to a certain part of yourself? And could it possibly be actually a place of great blessing? Could it hold within it great blessing? An example, I have a client that I teach meditation to that is always kind of frustrated with himself because he's kind of like, he can't do minutia. And so it comes up at work, like he has to do all the small little bits of, the day-to-day drudge work, and he has such a hard time doing it, and he checks out, and it gets him in trouble in his workplace. And he's like, I just wish I could do that. Like, what is wrong with me? I came out defective. I can't do this one thing. And it does cause him pain. And the more that he practices with this idea of, well, what if the way my brain works, that these things are difficult for me, is set up in such a way that this other thing is actually my blessing in the world, like that I don't get sucked into the details, that I'm a big picture thinker, And what it means is rather than hate that part of myself, I should be like, thank God. It should be my greatest blessing that this is something that I'm here to do, is the big picture work. And maybe I'm in the wrong job, you know? We all have parts of ourselves like that. Times when, I felt like I'm so needy. I wish I was less needy. And through just re-examining, re-accepting, re-loving that part of myself that was needy, I've begun to really see that the neediness is actually a desire for intimacy. And in that desire, that like grasping and clinging for intimacy, I can actually have very deep and powerful relationships with people. It's my superpower. What is that for you? What is the thing for you that we need to cover in blessing, that we need to uncover the blessing? And almost like we could channel God's voice through us to find the blessing that we previously were cursing. So maybe you know immediately what it is. Maybe you have absolutely no idea. But in this sit today, we're just going to kind of open up for it. The same way Balaam is like, it's going to come through me. Let's see what comes through us. Let's see where the space opens. So I want to invite you to come to a comfortable seat, or you're welcome to lie down if that's easier on your body. You can roll open your shoulders. You can give your body a twist, whatever feels nice and supportive for your body in this moment. Stretch your neck and move through the body, inviting it to come to ease, settling down. You can close your eyes. You're welcome to keep them softly focused, open in front of you, allowing your shoulder blades to slide down your back, relaxing your arms, wrists, hands, and fingers, softening your jaw, feeling the support of the seat underneath you or the cushion or whatever you're sitting on, you're lying on. Take a few deep breaths to allow your body to settle. Inviting in ease, inviting in openness. You're welcome to just stay with your present moment anchor, like the breath or the feeling of your body in your seat, and just return there again and again. Or if there is a part of you that you're really struggling with right now, struggling to see the blessing in it, fighting yourself about it, you can hold that part of yourself with love, with lots of gentleness. Put down all weapons and imagine, what would it be like if hidden inside this part of yourself is your greatest blessings, your greatest gift to the world? As your mind wanders around, keep bringing it back to this breath, to this holding of this blessing. any part of your body is tensed up again, just invite it to relax, to soften, to open. Turning either back to just this breath or maybe to the words of the blessing. Ma tovu ohale hayakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Letting it wash through you with each breath. How good are your tents, Jacob, your dwelling places, Israel. Matovu Ohaleha Yaakov, Mishkenatecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. They extend like streams, like gardens by the river, like aloes which the mystery planted, like cedars by the water. Water will flow from their wells, and their progeny shall have abundant water. They shall be elevated and exalted. In a moment, I'm going to ring the bell. And when I do, you can, at your own pace, begin to bring your attention back.
Thank you so much, Yael. Thank you so much. Beautiful practice and teaching. And friends, if you stick around, I'll share a link to in a bit to Yael's teaching, which I mentioned earlier. It's called the Silent Center of Things, a series of teachings and mindfulness practices based on the weekly Torah portion. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful teaching today, Yael. And we seal it as we do each day, friends, by offering an opportunity for those of you who are in mourning or observing a yard site, or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish, to do so. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, please stay present for those who are. Offer your compassion and support for those who are in mourning. Thanks to Jet Bachman for sharing the words of the mourner's Kaddish on the screen. And if you're reciting them, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabbah, Yamad, Yivrach, Yirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, Hayechon, Yemei, B'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, B'Mariv, Yishnei Rabbah, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Yitzhar, 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 Yitadar, Yitaled, Yimal, Shemei, Shah, Ha'ela, Mimol, Yirchata, V'shirata, Dushbechata, V'nishbachata, V'amiran, V'alma, V'yom, Yehi, Lama Rabba, Shaya, Yisrael, Aleinu,
Yisrael, Amen.
Say
Shalom,
love, say shalom,
Shalom,
Amen. And friends, thanks so much for joining us today. Everyone is invited to stay on, either to continue just to use this time and this community as a container for your practice. You continue to sit in silence. You're welcome to do so. You can turn the sound off on your computer or device or phone, whatever it may be, if that's helpful, or join us for some conversation with Yael about the teaching and practice today, or just to share reflections. Welcome to stay on. I want to thank Jeff Bachman for holding our tech space today, as usual, so skillfully and with so much grace. And thank each and every one of you for making time in your day for being here. And thanks to our teacher, Yael Shy. Maybe Jed, if you could put the link back into the chat. I'm going to invite Yael in here, but if you can put a link. So I'm going to share also, put a link to Yael's website, but also special bonus for those of you who stayed on. Here is a link to Yael's teaching for this week, Parshat Balak, that this beautiful teaching was based on. And I've been a big fan for a long time of this series. So I'm also going to put a link in. If you did not subscribe this year, not to worry. You can still join. Still plenty of Torah to go in the year 5783. And there's a link to sign up to register, and you'll not only get a weekly email with the teaching going forward through Deuteronomy until we get to Simchat Torah, but also you'll have access to all the previous weeks in the series as well. And Yael, I think you offer. You offering a live session how often?
Those have come to a close, but you get
okay.
all the recordings of the live sessions if you sign up.
It is a deal. So there you go. All right, Yael, thanks so much. This is also I agree, it's a terrific Torah portion for Jewish mindfulness mavens. So I'm going to push you a little bit, if that's okay. First of all, I say it's a great one for Jewish mindfulness mavens, because if one assumes a non-dualistic understanding of the divine, God, whatever word you want to use, we're starting from this assumption that there is something sacred or divine in everything, including in that which we would say, like, I don't see it, sorry. And so we have this idea in Jewish mysticism of extracting this, sparks of holiness that are in these what are called klipot, husks or shells that obscure their light. But it's almost like a treasure hunt, really, right? I think we're hunting, we're spark hunters. And so this was a wonderful way to kind of bring this into both meditation practice and also life. When we notice, can't find any spark here, say, like, that's exactly where we should look for the spark. However, as you pointed out, there's a lot of resistance. I will experience a lot of resistance. You may experience resistance too, where whatever that form may take, a judgment, whether it's an extreme judgment or fear or both, in the moment, my inner toddler will kick in and say, no, I'm not going to look for any spark here. No, and basically have a tantrum. You kind of alluded to it, and like, if you notice any resistance coming up, just be very gentle with that. So the pushing back, I'm not pushing back, but I'm like testing that a little bit to say, like, okay, well, what if that resistance is really extreme? Whether in the moment we're so triggered by something that we cannot access it, or we're beating ourselves up very, in an extreme way internally, or others beating up others internally in an extreme way. What's your advice? What do you do in those moments? I mean, you probably don't have those, but if you were to have the moment like that, what's your advice there?
Yeah. Well, I think The tantrum example is a beautiful one because anybody who has had experiences with actual kids and actual tantrums, what's the worst thing you can probably, well, there's a couple worse things you can probably do, but one is to be like, stop crying, stop the tantrum. Two is to be like, there, logical mind here. Like, why don't you try and reason with it or understand the child who's having a tantrum? That will result in World War III, at least in my house. So you can't get there by like trying to reason with it. And you
Mhm.
certainly can't be like, see the bright side. It's not like all of these methods of the normal way when we are confronted with our inner tantrums or somebody on the outside world having a tantrum
Mhm.
is, in a sense, if you look at it really closely, it's often to try and get rid of it, like to
Mhm.
stop it, even when you're trying to do it in a way that's like sacred, like, no, look for the sparks. So a different approach is to look at the part of yourself that's resisting, that's tantruming, that's like, no, I don't like this, and I'm not going to look for the sacred part, and be like, you got it. That's right. There's a
Mhm.
reason why you're resisting. Maybe I know what it is, maybe I don't know what it is, but the
Mhm.
resistance itself can be sacred. And that too is good.
Mhm.
Like, you get even more meta than nothing is outside of the good. So that resistance is also welcome. And you don't need to change it, and you don't need to break it down, and you don't need to
Mhm.
stop it. You lock eyes, at least in my case, with my tantruming child, and I'm like, yeah, this is hard. This is painful. You
Mhm.
don't like this, and I'm here with you. That's it. We're going to get through this together.
Mhm.
So that's what we say to ourselves.
That's really good. That's really I know you have referred many times, I think, to the RAIN acronym, right? And I wonder if that's helpful in this situation too. Or like, what do you like? What reminds you in that moment? Especially when it comes, let's the tantruming kids is a good example.
Yeah.
We can relate, but
Yeah.
um, I'm thinking about the inward tantrum, the kind of where the nervous system is like so dysregulated, basically, right? That it's hard to. I don't want to use my tools. I don't want to use my mindfulness tools, right?
Yeah.
It's like layers on top of layers there of judgment. Um, and what I guess I'm getting from what you're saying here is that in the mind at the same time that is happening, that I might be out of control in my self-judgment or just resistance to how things are unfolding right now. That's okay. But how do we avoid that being permission to spin out? you know
Mm, yeah. Um, I think this is like, it's really like what my son has taught me, because we were like completely at a loss with his wild kind of outbursts and big emotions. He's a big emotion kid. And so it's like, I'm learning this for myself, that so on the one hand, when a kid is doing this, you can't, like, you do need to put a stop to it. You can't let
right.
them hurt other people or hurt themselves. And sometimes you physically need to hold them. And I say to him, like, I can't let you hurt your brother, or like, I can't let you hurt yourself or hurt me. But again, these are the magic words I learned from Dr. Becky. Those of you that know her, Instagram influencer, she says, this is really hard, and we're going to get through this together. This is
Mm.
really hard, and we're going to get through this together. And I like make him look me in the eyes, and I'm holding him. And that's what he says. So for yourself, what can you do? Like, you can't hurt someone, and you can't keep beating up yourself. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to keep letting you hurt yourself, Yael.
Mm.
So, like, I put my hand on my chest or something like that. My friend used to say she would like stare at herself in the mirror when she was like spinning out of control, and she's like, I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. And so we do that for ourselves a little bit. Be like, this is really hard. This is really hard. Tara Brach sometimes says, like, you can put a hand on your cheek. It's really hard, and I'm not going to leave you. Because that's, that's the
Hmm.
tendency, especially if that's what was done to us, is like,
Hmm.
bye,
Right.
like, and whatever. And so that's, it's not easy, but I think that's the game.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. And I love I am not familiar with Dr. Becky, but thank you for sharing that. And I'm just thinking that it's there are a lot of echoes in Jewish liturgy and sacred literature where God says that actually frequently, especially in the Psalms. Anochi, I think there's one phrase from, I don't remember what Psalm, Anochi imo b'tzara, I am with him, or I'm with you in your constriction, basically, and it's also a great, what you just gave was a great example of gavura, of setting boundaries,
Mm,
um, with and informed by and exuding chesed, love, right? Like, to hold your child, whether it's your inner child or another person, to say, I can't let you hurt, I have to set a boundary here. I can't let you hurt yourself or me or someone else.
yeah,
And I am with you. And this is hard, to communicate that empathy.
yeah,
It's just that's a great visual, I think, for all of us to relate to, that this is hard. And that, before thinking about, like, well, what's the silver lining here?
yes,
Like, oh, there's a silver lining in this cloud. What is it? This is great. There must be a great
exactly.
blessing here. You know,
Right.
that comes a lot later, really, right? Um,
That's right.
it's almost as if, don't try to extract the blessing, actually, or the spark. Um, soften the shell, and it will, or not, I guess, emerge on its own. It will be born if we create the conditions for it to emerge, as opposed to, I got to find the blessing here, or don't worry, this is actually good.
Yes, it's so we're so subtle, like our minds, in the ways that we're actually trying to get rid of something that we actually don't believe it's good,
Hmm.
And so you have to be so watchful, like, are you really there with it? Do you
Hmm.
really believe there's good in here?
Hmm.
Or are you actually just subtly trying to get rid of it by being like,
Right.
let's
Well,
get to the blessing quicker?
that's spiritual bypass. That's the definition, I guess, of spiritual bypass, right? Well, I don't have to feel this pain. I can just go around, and I'm fine. But that's really not the prescription here. And it's not an easy or blissful road. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because, like, Bilam, the prophet who Balak calls to curse, like, he has a rocky road, and it becomes a very constricted place. I don't know what to make of it. Like, I haven't reread your piece, but I know it's entitled "Our Donkeys Ourselves."
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe I want to say a little bit about the donkey self.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, there's this animal aspect of ourselves that kind of knows this, right? The donkey is the hero of the story. The donkey has the wisdom. It says, "What are you trying to do?" Like, I'm just doing what it's clear to me. I see very clearly what's happening here. You're the
Yes.
one who doesn't see what's happening.
It gives me the
Take time
chills, actually, because it's like the donkeys, in the actual words of her, what she says is like,
Uh-huh.
have you not ridden me? Have I ever, like, led you to believe I don't know what I'm doing? Like,
Right.
why are you hurting me?
Right.
And, like, almost makes me like want to tear up, because that's how we are to ourselves,
Mhm.
like, bad, idiot, whatever, like, are the words we speak to ourselves, and sometimes the physical harm we do ourselves, and definitely the emotional harm. And, like, imagine our bodies would just be like, WTF, like, what are you doing? I've carried you, I've helped you to survive. Can you trust me? It's so beautiful. And, he's like, but you're not letting me go. And the body's like, I got this. Like, trust me. We can, you know?
It's even more than that, because he's beating he's beating the donkey, right? Like, just like beating up on the self there, and that doesn't, it just leads to a stalemate, basically, right?
Yeah.
Um, so
And
again,
there's all these levels, because, like, I think it's the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe said that, like, the word for donkey is from similar roots to the word for like the self, the substrate of the self. And so
Oh,
there's all
wow.
kinds of interesting stuff.
All right. Well, you'll have to subscribe and read. But I gave everybody the freebie here. Don't tell anybody that I did that. It's just between us. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to take a look in the chat. Yeah, it's really it's just a great practice, and it sets the tone for the week for all of us. So I want to thank you so much again for making time to lead us today. It's always a joy to get to do this, and we're grateful for the partnership and grateful for all you do in your teaching and practice online and off. So okay, everyone, it's great to be with you. Thanks to Jet Bachman for holding our space as always. And looking forward to this week of practice tomorrow. We'll have for the first time, Rabbi Denny Marshall will be leading us. Looking forward to that. Josh Fagelson will be hosting. Then on Wednesday, Rabbi Shefa Gold will be leading us. On Thursday, our own Rabbi Miriam Margles and Rebecca Schistler, as always, will help us sit into Shabbat on Friday. So it's going to be a very special week. Hope you can join us. All right. Shavua to everyone.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week.